but it's as a result of working with Brett's talking about is that second level of business, right? So what I want to do is I just want to run over the last 24 hours from Thursday night to Friday night of what happened in my business, okay? So I wrote it down. So I picked up an IBA on Thursday night. That person's, their hours are already done. They're stayed out, so they're opening their window. I picked up a signed 401k paperwork for a business that has 10 appointments. I locked down $40,000. That's we're going to get by the end of March, and I locked down a new PAC for $540 a month for the next 25 years. I wrote a life sale. I locked down another $60,000, and I stumbled across a large amount of money. Someone has a dad who's 70 US this money. And then I made an appointment to another person started on Monday, and I had 3 new people to my business in terms of names. Okay, that's in a 24-hour period. Now, that's not because I'm amazing. It's not because I've been working like a crazy person. I have a legal business. I have a daughter. I have a whole bunch of other stuff. But what it is, that is the result of the history theory that we talk about, right? You know, when Brett talks about in the past, he's given talks about how you recruit 5 people in a month, right? Well, some of them are ready now, some of them are ready in 90 days, some of them are in 60 days. That applies to all of our business, right? So all I've been doing, I've been developing my market, my allies, advocates, and associates this whole time, but it hasn't been the last 90 until the last really 90 days where I'm okay, let's go, right? And the thing for me was I had a conversation with one of the people in my market, and I basically broke down the differences in the 2 businesses, right? Because there was the couple, and I retail prospected them like 7 years ago, and I knew they weren't going to do the business, they weren't going to go retail prospect 12 people, right? So we became friends, right? And so they met at Target. There was 3 people that we retail prospected at this one table. 2 of them were from Target. Right? The other 2 people are still in my market. They're working with my advocates, right? But this couple they were looking to do some kind of protein powder business, or something like that, right? And they're very successful. They make a large amount of money and they're very successful at what they do. But one thing that I've discovered about successful people is once they master what they're doing, they're always going to look for something additional, right? They're always going to be pushing you to do something else. So if you see someone that's very successful, don't think they're not going to do business just because they're successful at doing something else. This couple is a prime example. I was like, there's never Brett. Didn't I say to you? Jimmy is never going to do the business, right? I probably said it to Brett 5,000 times, okay? Guess who's doing the business, right? And the reason is, I sat down and I had this conversation with him. I said, look, they said, tell us about the business. I said, the way that this business used to work is I would recruit you. And then what I would do is I would give you a list of your 10 and 20 closest friends. And we would go see all of them so that we can get them in your corner so they can understand what it is that you're doing, right? Then we're going to come, they're all going to have needs because 9 out of 10 families we can help, right? People who have gone on appointments soon. Is that ratio actually true? 9 out of 10 people you said with have something that we can help them with, right? So when we go to 10 to 20 people, their friends and families, we're going to come across half of them to 3/4 of them that they're going to need something, and depending on our skill level, we're going to write them up or do something. Okay? So then I said, what we would do then is I would train you through your markets. You'd see me write up all of your friends. I would make money on them, but you would then know what to do. At the end of that process, I would pat you on the butt and I would say, go find people, right? And we'll work on this thing. Okay? That's the way that we used to do the whole business, right? Okay. But now here's our new business. We don't do that. It's in conflict. All these are right. But here's now what we're doing. Here's now what I'm going to do for you. Okay? I'm going to get you your customer license for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, depending upon your schedule. And it's clear, right? But this is I'm going to make this commitment to you over that period of time that your schedule, with your license. I'm going to get you $150,000, $200,000 in managed accounts for your business, so that your business then runs in perpetuity for free because your securities license is $500 a month, your PLL is $25 a month, and so through that year, what we're going to do is I'm going to get you the managed accounts so that you have a business that runs for free. Then what I'm also going to do is at your job, I'm going to help you get either a promotion, I'm going to help you get recognition, or I'm going to help you with a raise, right? And how I'm going to do that is to get entrepreneurial skills that I know work because I've validated them in my legal business and Brett has validated them in this business. And I'm now validating them in this business. So I know all of these things. And I can say that to them with confidence because Brett's already validated. Okay? Brett's taken me on trading appointments before in terms of a 401k, right? So we've got 401ks that are working. I just bought them a 401k yesterday. So we're going to be able to do that for people. And the difference in those two conversations was, in the first conversation when I had with people about what they're going to do to see your friends, all right, here are the objections. Where are the objections, right? And I would deal with those objections. In this conversation with them, two really smart people, highly motivated, there was like, okay, what's next, right? Let's get you started on your house. And that's, it's not that I'm super awesome. I, in fact, suck at this business. I, in fact, in the Allies Advocates and Associates on the bottom part, I'm actually not very good at it. It's just the system that we've developed is so good that you can actually start doing it and you will get results from it. Now, just imagine if you're a disciplined being. And so, you know what I'm saying? You can do both, right? And so, you know, the good news is that I think over the last 9 months, you know, or 11 months, we have a newborn, you know, this father thing, I'm trying to get that under control. I'm busy all the time in the middle of business. I have 120 clients, right? So you can, no matter what, how much time you have, as long as you're bored at this, you always have a place to pick up your business, right? Today, I have no time to deal with any of the stuff I have to do all the legal business I have to do this last week. And that's okay, because we're going to an appointment today. That's it. Besides that, all of this stuff will be there tomorrow. Okay? And all that I've been doing is I'm organized, I'm developing people, knowledge, advocates, and associates. And I've been doing this business, I've been in the business for 7 years. I've never had a 24-hour period like I had in 24 hours. And it's not magic. The cool thing about it is like, I actually know exactly how this last 24 hours happened. Now I can work on getting better and have that happen every day, right? Because I know, like, you know, the 401k took me 60 days to work on it. And so the people, these other people all took different times, but they all came together every day. Now I know I'm dedicating my time to sections of time. I'm creating those moments that they'll all come together in some future time. Because like, look, well done, you guys can be in business in 6 months from now. So if you work on something today that comes to fruition in 6 months, does that help you? Right? It'll be in business in a week. And so if you work on something that helps you in a week, you have no idea the stuff you have to do. But if you work on it, the time that we have, we're on this system that we have, it would start to have things done. It's not. It's part of the teaching time.
So, and it's funny because the stuff that Wade's had happen, the amount of, okay, so tell me about this guy over the last year or two. Okay, right, never gonna have, like, I've gone back to them 6 times. I've had, every time you have a damn meeting that says, go take this to your friends, right, because we've been working on this stuff. Wade's called Jimmy and said, hey, let me come share the new adventure to you, like, because we just kept moving. And it's like, I can't do it. What happens, though, is 2 things. One, your skill level will increase. If you right now, how many of you know how to play golf? How many of you don't know how to play golf? If you went out for the next month, took a swing, and someone said, hey, put your hands like this and just swung, how many of you think within 1 month you could have your swing developed? Not necessarily a good one, but the one that you got on a gut, and I don't care where it is. If you pop your hips or wherever it goes, whatever you practice, you're going to get better at it. Mark Cox said this a long time ago. It's really made an impact. It kind of goes in line with this. He goes, look, he goes, everybody can close a sale. Here's the ability to close a sale skill. There are people that you walk in and they want to buy. They don't care what you're selling. They want to buy. And so if you happen to sit down with them and at any point they can rationalize buying, they're buying. Sometimes they're called your mom. Not your mom, right? But sometimes they're called, sometimes, right? Sometimes they're called fill in the blank. Right? Then there's the ones that even if they say, if you pay for it, I probably wouldn't get it. Right? So we've got both ends of the spectrum, right? Okay. So this is their spectrum. This is the them. And then there's the you. and your skill falls somewhere along this line. When you're new, you really need to walk into these homes to be successful. If you walk into this home and you have this skill set, are you going to do business? No. If this isn't a complicated concept, this made a tremendous amount of sense for me. People ask me all the time, bro, why did you work so hard to study? Why did you practice so hard to get good at this? I saw this slide early in my business and I went, oh, here's what this translated to me. You mean there are homes that someone else can walk into and do business with that I'm not going to be able to do business with the same home just because of my skill level? And I went, that doesn't make sense. They need it and I need it, and I'm not good enough to do it. And that my motivation for increasing my skill totally happened on this slide. Because I went, oh, see, I walk into homes now, and if they're lay down sales, to be completely candid, I take them and they're great. And they're kind of boring. I'm kind of like an order taker. If I show up here, I'm kind of like an order taker. No, I do it. I help them, and it's fun. I sat down with your daughter. The first things out of her mouth was, yeah, we were talking to my husband, and we need insurance and investments. Like, we need to do this. And I'm like, well, why don't we take a step back? Why don't we go back? And I'm like, no. Like, we're going to push the envelope and grow because I'm teaching Arson and Cindy, right? I don't want them just walking in and being order takers. I want them learning their skill development. If I'm in financial services sales, understand this. If I'm in financial services sales, we wrote them up that night. And the conversation was about 20 minutes long. The conversation was, so what do you think you're looking at? How much could you set aside? Have you thought about insurance? Have you thought about, oh, you can set aside $300 a month here. Why don't we do this, and we're done. Because it's here. Does that make sense? But does that help Arson and Cindy increase their skill? In my business moves, if Arson and Cindy only get good at this, do I have a profitable leg of my business? No, because now they have to get lucky. The further down this road, the better. Does that make sense? So, building allies, advocates, and associates. Life starts working on people too. So there's a third axis in developing a support system. See, and the stuff that's happened in Wade's relationship with his market, there's things that have happened outside of Wade in the lives of some of the people that he's talking about, has drawn them closer to hearing him. His skill is increased, and so the opportunity went. If Wade didn't have the relationship and only their situation changed, if Wade didn't have the relationship, the skill, and have their life change, then that 24 hours doesn't happen yet. Does that make sense? And that's really important because some people develop their market and they get different results, and then they compare results with somebody else and go, well, maybe it's not working for me, or I'm not as good. And we don't know what's happening in the lives of the other people because there's still 38 other people in Wade's list that all didn't join yesterday.
Yeah, for example, like lifestyle that I did, her friend had just passed away from cancer. She's like, oh my God, I have to, so 6 months ago, that stuff probably doesn't happen. It's just that I've been in contact with them the entire time. And then what's going to happen is I'm there because I've been developing that.
That makes sense? Wade's not here, like, and what this is, some people go like, this is, I can get all of these people to say yes. This is, I can get these people to say yes. This is, I can get this guy to say yes. Like, there are a handful of times I've walked out of appointments and I've Robin, and I'm like, okay, there's literally like a company that got this person. So yes, like, that's high level skill of knowing the right time to pause and ask questions, where to go. Because I've been doing it for 20 years. And I've been a student for 20 years. So yeah, I can write this guy up. I haven't figured out how to write this guy up, but I can write this guy up. But right? That makes sense? Now, I told you guys, Tony and I had an appointment, and we had something that was here. Now, I'm skilled enough to do here, but I've been out of it for a long enough period of time that my skill level in the moment was here. That's what happened there. And so the moment you understand, you're like, oh, I wasn't on my game. Okay, no problem, because they're all on the scale. Everyone's a yes if the right combination is involved. Bob Ferrier is getting his licenses and in Primerica again. That is proof of this. And most of you guys don't understand, but I'm absolutely being sincere and honest. Bob and Don were an ally. Hey, I'm just going to come share a new story. I'm not doing the business, Brett. I know you're not doing the business. I'm just sharing our story. Bro, we did it before. Well, it's a little different. Yeah, he says it's different. Yeah, no, 6 months later. Yeah, it sounds like it's a little different. Okay, we'll get our licenses, but we're not doing it. And what happens is Bob and Don's life and opportunity changed, and it matched the relationship, and it was in alignment, and there was a space for them to do it. Right? Bob wasn't here when it comes to the business. I might have been the only person on the planet that could have recruited Bob, based on our interactions, our relationship, my vision of where we're going in the moment in time that it was happening. So, well, does that mean that if you're not me in that dynamic, you suck? No, it's about the different sets of relationships. But I got 100 relationships that I was able to trigger Bob in the right moment, but there's still people that are in that timing. That makes sense? But if we don't create our allies, advocates, and associates organization, if we don't understand what's going on, and we don't understand that we're constantly increasing our skill, we're constantly understanding their vision and opportunity, so we're not holding our own limitations to their experience because there's things going on in their life. And then certain things happen. Y'all want to know what happened to Wade? One thing happened to Wade. Jerry Brown happened to Wade. Jerry Brown happened to Wade. Okay, so I want to tell a story about what happened, why you develop and maintain relationships. In my old business, or in almost any business, Wade's out of Primerica 6 years ago. 6 months ago. Wade's income has exploded. His legal business is significantly grown. He's worked really hard. I think I've had a small impact on his legal business, but his income has grown, his security is good, he's got a daughter, he's got an opportunity, and he stopped coming around because of the daughter and stuff like that. If I'm not absolutely in alignment with what we're doing, Wade's not coming back. Because Wade doesn't actually have to come back to make a decent income, to build the life that he wants, to build a relationship, to create the things he wants. We had that relationship. But it wasn't about challenging Wade in the moments that it wasn't right to challenge Wade. Does that make sense? But my old business was about absolutely sucking the oxygen out of options when someone's timing is weak. Because if you let them go, they might not come back. Wade's been one of my most important advocates that I've developed in the last 7 years. Just like Sue has been. Just like Mario, and David and Lisa. My RVP team is my strongest advocate group that I actively, purposefully cultivate and develop relationships with. Because we're all getting stronger and better. Does that make any sense? Wade says, okay, I make a good amount of money in my legal business. I want to do this. I want to create this. But Brett, like, writing life sales isn't necessarily my biggest thing. And building a team and trying to go through. And I talk to people about building allies, advocates, and stuff like this. But this is all good. But I really I'm going to build this, securities. Can we build this and kind of get things going? Yeah. Brett, are we going to have people? Is this active? the number of times that my friend Wade would go, so if we actually do this, are we actually going to have appointments? Like, probably every time we talked for 3 months, at some point in that conversation, that question was asked. Okay, great. So I'm starting to talk to some people about this stuff. We're starting to build this like inventory of folks. Are we actually going to have the appointments? True? And I'm like, wait, yes, we're going to have the appointments. We're building, we're creating, we got the environment, we got the system, we got this, it's coming. And then Wade showed up to a meeting and found out that the state of California says that if you have a company with more than 5 employees in the next couple of years, you have to have a retirement plan where all your employees are automatically opted in to a state-sponsored IRA. And Wade went, I get to walk in and have this conversation with anybody. Because no one knows it, no one's going to know. Are the financial services investment specialists going to talk to the company with 9 employees? Because it's a pain in the ass to do that. They're barely making enough money. They're trying to figure it out. One of 3 things happen. Either they should probably have 6 employees, but they're growing at such a rate that they're leveraging themselves to get the 9 employees to stay ahead of the momentum. Or they did that and they had the 9, now they're shrinking, they should go back to 6 and they're not sure economically how to do it. Or they're maintaining and they're just figuring out how to not have a boulder fall on them. And then you walk in, or anyone walks in and says, hey, let me build a financial game plan for your people. And they're like, I can't do anything that's going to mess this up. So yeah, I like the fact that you want to help people. This all sounds good, and that's a nice, like, altruistic grade, but what do I get out of it? And Wade has the ability now to walk in and say, so in a couple of years, you're going to be out of compliance, and the fines that are going to be up are going to be leveled, they're going to be increasingly important, and we can take all of that burden off of your shoulders. And make you look like a hero. Now, a lot of you get excited about that sentence. That's not the sentence that Wade gets excited about. See, Wade gets excited about that because then Wade gets to go back to Jimmy and say, hey, I know I'm going to have a bunch of appointments for you because of Jerry Brown. And so Wade's figured out he gets to be an authority by leveraging his language and his credibility, his understanding, and he gets to go to his market and say, no, you got to get licensed because we're actually going to have these appointments. But he had the licenses in place. He's learned a lot of the language. And he's got a market in place that he was able to go back and tell the stories, the impact stories of what's happening. And so he got one little piece of momentum, and he went and sat with 4 or 5 people, and guess what he told them about? The one little piece of, first, the one little piece of momentum. The one little piece of momentum got them to be interested and then ask the next question, how is this happening? Then he was able to introduce Jerry Brown, and now all of a sudden legitimize the one little piece. And then what happened is he created 2 or 3 little pieces of momentum. And so then when he went to talk to the next 6 or 7 people, what did he talk about? The 2 or 3 pieces of momentum and how it got there. And it's just with the relationships were in place, the impact stories were on check, and he had the licenses in place. And so some are like, wow, that's great. I'm really excited for you. And some are like, wait, you'll give me appointments? Because of where they are on their timing schedule. Does this make sense? So when we talk about this, and again, my goal, guys, is we use all of us as examples. We're all doing different things to create momentum and stuff like that. These are tangible examples of someone who's actively, in my opinion, probably at about a 4 skill level of what we're doing on purpose. That's creative. Now, Wade's got 2 choices. Either get that skill level to 10 or hope and pray that David gets to a 4 too. Then you, and Tony, and Bob and Don get to a 4 and Cindy gets 4, because then what happens is he's going to move to a 5, but now the organization. What happens when, Marco, we're in this room and now you're hearing Wade, you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. But if David came up and talked about it, and Bob and Don came up and talked about theirs, and Tony came up and talked about theirs, and Cindy and Arson talked about theirs, now all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, this happens to everybody. Right now it happens to Wade, which is better than it happening to Brett. For a long time, well, Sears can do it. But now there's a gap. The fact that it's happening to somebody else, right? Sue's got 2 presentations this week. Of course Sue can do it. Of course Brett can do it. Of course. That doesn't help your confidence. But now all of a sudden you're like, well, so wait. Imagine if your marketing goes up and you hadn't been retail prospect in your market. Imagine if you had a retail prospect in your market. Imagine if we actually had our market put together and we were developing the skill of how do I move from here to here over 3 months, and we had a game plan for the relationships. And we actively moved them. And we've been doing that for 6 months. Do you think other people in this room would have stories and impact? Not luck. Not I happened to go on the right appointment. Not the, oh my God, I was recruited at 10:30 on a Thursday night. Someone happened to recruit me. Right? Sue met, what was her name? Linda Shelley at like 10:30 at night or something like that at a Walmart. Right? And all of a sudden, 6 months later, Linda Shelley has like 60 people on her team or whatever, like exploded. But that happened to be that one person. That's the same as I went on this one appointment and this magic happened. Right? I told the story about this guy and he's involved with the church and that's one appointment on accident that we got that result to. That's a different sense than what's being created here. That's the difference between building Allies Advocate Associates and building retail prospecting in our market. It's about reps. So part of what today's about is one, celebrate Wade, right? To go through it. In fact, that's why I said, look, and I'm proud of Wade, but I'm really more proud of, now it is recording, I'm incredibly proud of Wade. So from Wade on, it's being recorded. Right? But no, I'm incredibly proud of Wade running. So my father-in-law, when I first talked to him and asked him if I could ask about him marrying and stuff like that, we sat down and talked about things. And I was kind of explaining a lot of the stuff that was going on, and I was in a pretty dark place about things, and I was feeling pretty badly about myself and what we had done. And he's like, Brett, stop. He goes, here's what I think you've done. Because I think you ran a really bad system really well. And I'm like, that's a pretty good description. He goes, so why are you feeling bad? Because you ran it well. And that really made a fundamental day in my life, in my professional life, to be able to let go of the emotional baggage of how could I have done this way for this one. I never stole anyone's money. I never heard, I was moral and ethical. I was in the gray area of nice. I wasn't on the gray. For the most part, I was a jerk. But it worked, and so it validated. And I ran a really bad system. And I walked away from that conversation going, what if we could run a really good system? Like, if we could create what we created running a really bad system really well, what happens if we run a really great system? And that's where this is. Wade's in the hole running this. I'm at like a 5. I'm not running this system great. We're still figuring out how we're doing this, right? I was driving this morning, but man, we still have to get better at adding value on purpose. And how do we have, it's so nuanced right now. It's so it's more instinctual rather than structured, right? The next 18 months is going to be about structuring a lot of the stuff that we know how to do, that we have these conversations. We're going to get there. I promise you we're going to get there. It's going to be amazing. The journey is going to be amazing. And some of you 18 months from now are going to be like, brand new people are going to walk in and they're going to be like, here's the 11 things to do. And you're going to be like, I had to sit through 50 meetings to figure out this list. And I'll be like, yep.
4 things to do.
And we're at that moment. Because I don't do this. And I go, wait, I don't want to see it. We have an advantage that no country is in. Agree or disagree, California has never done this. Agree or disagree, I truly believe California is going to stay a Democratic state for at least the next 4 years because of all the crazy ass shit that's happening across the country. California is getting more and more corruption. And there are people that are willing to leave because of how liberal the state is. And I'm not here to argue whether it's good or bad that it's liberal. I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, we are entrenched. Which means this isn't changing. There are 9 million things that are going on in the country, and they're deregulating a bunch of things, and California has figured out that their job is to fight every step. So every regulation they want to eliminate, they are going to entrust. So this law, this retirement plan, as misguided and ill-written, and actually doesn't benefit most of the people that it's designed to benefit because of the limitations, is not going anywhere, in my opinion. And it's not going to get any press because there's too much attention going other places. The financial services industry isn't going to talk about it very much because they can't make any money and they don't want to feel like they're responsible for doing something they don't want to do. And so the big players aren't going to talk. The little players in Primerica don't have an answer for it, so they're not going to talk. Now, we have to be aware that when Primerica does decide to acknowledge this for like 6 months, it's going to be a dumpster fire because all of the recruits are going to start retail prospecting and all the businesses saying, hey, and it's going to be a complete dumpster fire for about 6 months because, and they're going to hit up for this for that period of time. And so we're going to just have our infrastructures and everything in place, and it's going to be bad, and then it'll be bad. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's going to happen because that's Primerica. Because there's no infrastructure to do. We have the language, we have tools, it's work, and the infrastructure. If we decide to do this, if we decide to be less than 1%, that's us choice. I have zero interest in being here. Less than zero. That doesn't mean you have to be all Primerica. You're going to create a system. You're going to create a system. Successful. Someone comes and works with us, they're going to get their first license and works like a second. We're going to find them $155,000 assets. We're going to raise a promotional or to get them serious recognition of their job because they're going to learn the skills and organizational language and structures of what's going on. And they're going to be able to start talking to people their jobs differently than they normally do because there's no skills. And that will get their head to step up, but they will get more responsibility. Every person that's worked with us in the last 12 months has gotten a raise or a promotion of what's going on simply by applying the principles. And then they're going to learn to build a little team so they can learn the difference between teaching and learning. Build everything. Let's get past the convince us that this is supposed to be, and let's stop retail prospecting. Step 1, brain dump every name. Look, we're building a technology platform that's going to help. It's a pain in the ass. I can give 3 or 5 different options. I'm playing with a couple of them. I'm going to recommend some of them to you that aren't very good, but that they work. POL doesn't work, right? We can do Excel. Like we're going to come up with 3 or 4 options for you to actually have a place to put these people so that you can sell until we build it. Because you've got to have them on somewhere so you can think about them and we can start saying, how do we move from one to another? But it starts with an emotional decision of, okay, 6 months from now, I want as many people as I can to have a clear picture of what I'm doing. Because a year from now, if they are, with all of the stuff, you guys understand, January of next year, if they work at a company, see, all of us have a tendency to think, I just want to finish this, we have a tendency to think we got to know the owner. If you know someone that works for the company that's got 53 employees, do you need to know the owner right now? No. This law is happening for them January of next year. Is anyone going to be talking to anyone? If over the next 8 months you have a relationship and it's November, and they work at the company, and they haven't had a meeting that says January 1st we have to do this, and you have a relationship with the middle manager, but your skill level's increased and you got your licenses, are you telling me that you don't think you could talk to the middle manager at lunch about introducing you to the supervisor, the HR director, and because this is happening, it's a law in California? Are you telling me that you don't think that all of the middle managers that you know can't connect you with the HR director or the owner in order to save them from getting fined because this is actively happening? You don't think in October, November, those are the conversations that you're going to be able to have with companies that have 61 employees? How about 18 months from now, the companies that have 31 employees? And starting in January 2019, if they have 5, they've got to have. Are you telling me that you can't have your licenses and your skills and your market dialed in and the opportunity to know how to communicate with them, to have them open their doors, to have you come solve their problem? Because they don't know what to do, they don't care about it, and they're going to not do it. And the moment they don't do it, they're going to get fined. And if they do it, they're not going to be able to communicate it, and their employees' incomes are going to drop, and they're not going to be able to explain why. This is coming. Like, this isn't theory. Like, this is law. And no one can touch it. It blows my mind. I'm spending an hour motivating us to dial in our markets, to learn our skills, to actually, and that's what this hour's been. Is I'm imploring us to actually go, oh shit, it's happening. But I don't want to wait till November. Because if Wade waited until they were ready, if Wade was waiting until this happened, Wade wouldn't have had his last week. Because the relationship wouldn't have been dialed in. And so Wade said, I believe something's going to happen, right? He told me a long time ago, when the universe is closed, there's going to be opportunities present themselves and we're going to be able to integrate them in a moment. You said that to me 5 years ago. We found out about this at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon and implemented in the meeting that night. That was the night that Wade showed up and got it registered. If it took us 6 months to evaluate it, we don't talk about it that night, it's changed. So, let's float this thing out. Bring your list, put them together. Put in the time. Don't show up with something. Do your work. Challenge yourself. You know this. You know this. You know this. Hopefully, if not, with flashcards. You got flashcards. If you do that, you can start to lead this process. And then we can start acting on purpose. Let's have some fun and let's let them know what it's all about. Access. Thank you guys.
That's my fault. Sorry, Brett. I got that thing started.